Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Onkaparinga's meeting for the 18th of June 2004. You're very welcome here. We've got a very full agenda tonight, and those of you in the gallery, I will ask that you refrain from heckling or any of those kind of things so that I don't have to evict everyone from the chamber, but we're thrilled that you're all here, and we're really pleased that you can be a part of tonight's proceedings. I will begin by recognising we've got a couple of apologies tonight. Councillor Lauren Dew and Councillor Stafford are unable to be here. But we'll begin with our pledge. So I ask elected members to stand, and others in the gallery who might like to join us as well by standing, but it's our pledge that we make. We recognise the city's considerable natural and cultural heritage, including thousands of years of traditional ownership by Ghana, and the more recent contribution from people either born here or who have migrated here. As we meet together, we build on this heritage by respecting and listening to each other, thinking clearly, being receptive to new ideas, speaking honestly, and deciding wisely for the current and future well-being of those we serve. Thanks, everyone. So I'm going to invite Kim Davis to come up to the lectern. So we are very excited to welcome Kim tonight, and in her new role, which we will now begin the proceedings for, and Kim will be joining Councillor Michael Fisher as a ward councillor for the ward in Parliament. And I have to read something official to begin that process. The Local Government Act 1999, Section 60 requires a declaration to be made. A member of the council must, at or before the first meeting to be attended by the member, make an undertaking in the prescribed manner and form to discharge the member's duties conscientiously and to the best of their abilities.
I, Kim Davis, having been elected to the office of councillor for the municipality of the City of Onkaparinga, do hereby declare that I will discharge the duties of that office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Kim will now be witnessed by our ever-present and supportive Graham, JP, and her signature will go into the declaration book, and Graham Daniels will, as he's doing now, affix the seal of the City of Onkaparinga and also his So again, thank Kim and welcome Councillor Davis to the table. Now the work begins. I'd like to start by confirmation of the minutes. Councillor Themeliotis. Happy to move. Thank you very much. Councillor Eaton.
I'll second it.
Any questions, debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? You have to put your hand up. Yes, everyone has to vote. Thank you very much. And that is carried. There's no adjourned business nor leave of absence. The Mayor's report. Councillor Platten.
Yes, I'd like to move.
Thank you very much. Councillor Greaves.
Thank you. Happy to second.
Any questions? Debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. We have a special presentation now, and this is to recognise excellence in our work here at the Council for the Local Government Association Mutual Risk Management Major Award winner. So I think our Manager of Governments is going to have something to say about this.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the public, elected members and staff. It's my great pleasure to formally present the Local Government Association Mutual Liability Scheme Risk Management Major Award for our training that we developed called Integrity Matters. So the training was based on our need to raise awareness with our staff about their obligations as public officers. It comes with a special set of responsibilities, but getting out across an organisation this size with 800 staff was proving to be quite challenging. So we, in conjunction with our learning and development team, we developed an online training tool, which had really good feedback from the training tool. We've had excellent take up of it. And then we've got other councils that are interested in accessing it as well. So prestigious award, really proud of the team. We also got $20,000 in prize money, which we'll reinvest into some risk initiatives. And it's also worth noting that when we originally looked for funds to build this online training, we accessed funds from the risk services scheme. So essentially it was cost neutral for council when we initially started that. So thank you. Thank you.
Here's the beautiful.
That was a real honour to hear about that work at the Local Government Association's ordinary general meeting, and it was certainly coveted. There were a number of fellow mayors who were very jealous, so it was really great to have bragging rights, and on behalf of all the staff, so congratulations to all of you, everyone who's been involved in that. Next up, we have a presentation, and this evening our presentation is from the Southern Adelaide Local Health Network. And we're really pleased to welcome Amy Ross here tonight. She's going to, we'll let you in. Amy's going to share some of the changes that we'll be seeing in our neighbours next door at the hospital and the Southern redevelopment, and also some of the things that we've been working across our whole community in terms of health services and the network. So you're very welcome, Amy, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much for the invite. So my name is Amy Ross. I'm Southern Redevelopment Capital Lead for the program and representing the SALHN at the moment. And our program is really a three-way partnership with the Department for Health and Wellbeing and the Department for Infrastructure and Transport to deliver this program. I'll begin by acknowledging the Kaurna people, the lands that we're meeting on today, the Adelaide Plains, and paying respect to elders past, present and emerging. For those that don't know, the Southern Adelaide Local Health Network, it's one of the largest networks in SA Health. We've got 10 providers, across SA Health 10 providers, and we've got more than 8,000 staff across all of our sites, so clinicians, corporate services, support staff. We provide care for people living in the southern suburbs, and we also provide care for people from the Liguria Peninsula, Northern Territory and beyond. Our core clinical services are medical and surgical services, rehab, aged care, mental health, and women's and children's health services. And we also have statewide services, drug, alcohol, and the Jamie Larkin Centre. So we have our major facilities, Flinders Medical Centre, so including the Margaret Tobin Centre, our mental health facility, obviously Noarlunga Hospital, very close by here, and the repat health precinct. Our core principles for stage one of our redevelopment is really to address the shortfall in capacity that we have across the Southern Adelaide Local Health Network, but more broadly statewide, as you will hear regularly in the newspapers. We do require some additional bed capacity, and so that's part of this program is to deliver some additional bed capacity for our community in the southern community. We'll have some additional procedural capacity as well, creating additional single rooms, so which helps with our patient flow, boosting our clinical capability in our outer south region, which is really around the Noarlunga Hospital uplift. I'll talk to you shortly. Providing further access to clinical support functions and refreshing our ageing infrastructure across our sites, particularly our acute facilities. We have been grateful enough to receive capital funding. We have $572 million to deliver stage one across Southern Network. So we have two separate initiatives. $498 million is state and Commonwealth joint funding to deliver 160 additional beds at Flinders Medical Centre and the repat. And we have $74 million for a state election commitment to deliver a new 24-bed mental health rehab unit and a 24-bed medical inpatient unit at Noarlunga Hospital. Along with that, we are really looking at not just stage 1, which is between now and 2028, when all the services will be open, but beyond that too, just future services. We know that obviously stage 1 won't be enough to deliver. It will deliver what we need now, but going into the future, we're also looking at future stages of our redevelopment program. Just in terms of what we have already delivered under the program, we have had a medical imaging expansion at Flinders Medical Centre, so a new CT and a new MRI scanner, which was opened in November last year. The Repat Health Precinct, we have 6 beds there. I'm not sure if you have heard much about that service, but that's an older person's ED avoidance service. We have a brand new Opal Arcot ward that was opened at Flinders Medical Centre, a 20-bed ward. And renal dialysis chairs increased from 9 to 12 at the Noarlunga Hospital late last year. Our project's underway at the moment. We've got a new gen unit at Repat being opened later this year. Noarlunga Hospital opening late next year. Flinders Medical Centre, Margaret Tobin, we will have an increase in our psychiatric intensive care unit facilities for the southern community, which is an increase of 10 beds. And then we have our large acute services building at Flinders Medical Centre, which will be open in early 2028, which is really the big uplift across the network. But really importantly for Noarlunga is what I'll talk to in a minute is our 48-bed expansion. So this is artist impression only, but very similar to what the new build will be looking like when it opens later next year. The works at Noarlunga, you can see there on the map, we will have where it's proposed to be situated. So, and work's already started. So you can see on Jackson Place there, there'll be a brand new car park leading for the new facility, but it will have a linkway to the existing facility. The build will be 2 stories, so 2 floors, and it will deliver 24-bed mental health rehab unit, which is sort of a step down facility, a lower acuity facility to our other sites, and a brand new service for the southern region, but particularly obviously for Noarlunga Hospital. We'll have a 24-bed medical inpatient unit, and we do have a kitchen expansion and a pharmacy expansion through the funding as well that will be delivered along with a new car park. We've had really broad engagement on this project. We've had consumers, clinicians, corporate services, Aboriginal community, unions, Office of the Chief Psychiatrist. So we have had broad engagement to inform the designs for this project. In terms of the 2 units, a mental health rehab unit, it will be a 2-pod situation. So we've got 2 12-bed pods, single rooms, 2 large therapy areas, 2 private consumer lounges, 4 interview rooms, 2 family lounges, and a small gymnasium. And you know, the length of stay for some of those consumers may actually be up to 6 months. So it's a very, very welcoming environment and home-like as possible. The medical inpatient unit, on the other hand, is a 24-bed single room. 20 beds of those are single rooms with en-suites, windows for beautiful natural light. 1 4-bed bay for patients requiring higher level of care. We've got rooms for patients with bariatric needs, which is a great improvement for our southern facilities, Noarlunga Hospital. And we will be looking at virtual capability and technology to help support improving the capability of Noarlunga Hospital so patients can receive care closer to home and stay here at Noarlunga and not have to be transferred to Flinders to receive specialist input. So we are looking at those virtual care opportunities and technology. Just in terms of the time frame, we have had the endorsement on the concept design and the detailed design. We have already started early works and we did have our sod turn recently. But we are commencing major works now, and we are expecting that the project will be complete mid next year. We are trying to bring it forward as much as possible, but mid next year we're hoping that later next year we will be going live and opening that service or both of those services. And here's just some images of what we are expecting the interior and exterior finishes to look like. The colour pattern and the palette is really around the local flora and fauna for this region, and that's what's informed the designs for the interior and exterior of the building. We have got a website, so there is an intranet website you're welcome to look at any time. And we also have an email address, so if there's any questions, more than happy to take those through that email address as well. Are there any questions?
Yes, over to you. I think that there's bound to be a couple. Councillor Wilkes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your presentation. This is in my ward, and I was driving past it the other day and I stopped and I looked, and I got really excited because I read the sign and I saw that the upgrade is coming and the expansion. So thank you for providing this for our community. I know on the map we saw that it's sort of taking up half the parcel of land that's there, and then on the southeast there's a bit more space of land. If you go back to the, I was wondering, is this this one here? Is this a stage one? Is this the end of the development for Noarlunga Hospital, or?
No, so as I mentioned earlier, this is stage one, yes. And we've deliberately been thinking about the longer term planning for Noarlunga and not plonked it right in the middle to not enable to ensure that we can continue growth if and when required. So certainly there is opportunity to expand Noarlunga further in that beautiful patch of land you can see there.
Excellent. So again, thank you so much. My community is going to absolutely love this, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councillor Bill.
Hello, and thank you for that presentation. I was looking forward to this presentation. It's very exciting. Thank you. Just a question about, and please, if you can't answer it, I understand. I'm just wondering if you can tell me what are the beds for Margaret Tobin at Flinders Medical Centre? So for the south in this, including Flinders and then Noarlunga, what will be the total extra beds for mental health?
Additional beds, 10 plus 24.
Thank you.
So additional 10 for the psychiatric intensive care unit at Margaret Tobin.
Yes, and then 24. Yeah, it looks amazing. It looks fantastic. Also, I'm just wondering, is there a theatre upgrade planned for the Noarlunga as well? I didn't quite catch that.
No. So we have got did focus the presentation just on Noarlunga for tonight, but we have got an upgrade and an expansion at Flinders Medical Centre. So we will have 4 extra theatres there, and that will be open in early 2028, which will obviously service the whole region, which is fantastic, and help with our waiting lists.
Wonderful.
So, yes.
How many theatres do they currently have at Noarlunga?
It will be 10, I believe. Sorry, I have to
10 at Noarlunga.
Yeah,
okay.
Noarlunga, no.
No, Noarlunga is what I was wondering.
Flinders we have enough left. Noarlunga we have no additional theatres.
No, but how many do we have currently at Noarlunga?
I can actually check on that.
That's all right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I understand if you can't answer the question. I was just wondering, with the extra beds, I'm just wondering what sort of surgery is expected to be done there.
Yeah, we are currently working through the clinical profile for that. So probably we're still sorting out sort of what our growth and demand is in early 2028 and where we can best prioritise the theatres and the theatre activity.
Is there any upgrades in the A&E that you're expected?
Not through this Southern Redevelopment program currently, but we are certainly looking at any opportunities possible, but not through this Southern Redevelopment stage 1.
No worries. No further questions. Thank you.
A couple from me about children. So are any of the inpatient facilities playing, particularly the mental health for under 18s, or are they all going to be adult services?
Adults only, above 18.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking about was the further step down, whether there's any plans for any partnerships with community housing providers and, with the Trevor Parry Centre and things like that. Are there any other interfaces?
Models of care for this space. So the mental health rehab unit has got a model of care under development. So there is potential opportunity there for partnership, yes.
Yep.
But as I said, model of care just currently sort of being developed and refined internally first, and then broadening that out.
Thanks, Amy. There's no further. There is. Councillor Wilkes has got a question.
Sorry, I just have one more that's I thought the community might ask me. I was just wondering, so you've obviously 24 mental health beds, 24 medical inpatient beds, the kitchen and the pharmacy, the new car park. What was the reasoning behind finalising on those 48 new beds?
That was informed by some, I guess, early master planning, I guess, of the region and what was needed across Flinders, Noarlunga and the repat. And so, yeah, that they were the priority areas as mental health and more medical beds to try and prevent or reduce the number of up transfers to Flinders Medical Centre, so patients in this region could be seen close at home and not have to travel up to Flinders. Thank you.
Councillor Bull, do you have another question?
Supplementary question, thank you. Yes, just the how many single room pods were overall will there be? I know you mentioned the mental health ones, but in the hospital for patients.
Single beds. So mental health. So I have to actually double check on the single room numbers for all of Noarlunga. But we don't have that many single rooms at the moment. So
are they doubles or
60%? So this is
people sharing?
Increase it.
Right. Are people
I can take that on notice and provide further.
All right. So you're not sure if the people are sharing with two in a bay of 2 or 4 at the moment?
We do have shared. We have a lot of shared rooms.
Yep.
So this is part of our commitment or our process for improvement, I guess, around patient flow is to enable us to have more single room capacity across the network. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Amy. We really are looking forward to it, as you can see by all the questions.
Right.
And I know a lot of us have been paying close attention, and it's lovely having the Minister for Health as one of our local members as well. So we can influence and talk with him too. So thanks for spending some time with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So now come to that part of our agenda, which is the deputation. So for those of you who might be following electronically, these start on page 25. Our first deputation, and I'll invite Scott and Kirstin Hannan to come up from Maslin Beach Community Association. I think Scott's going to be presenting tonight, and he'll be talking with us about the CWMS rebate. As I spoke to Scott beforehand, he knows he's got his 8 minutes and heard the bell at the 6-minute mark. It is over to you.
Thank you. Heckling, thank you, Maureen. I'll send you out. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mayor, councillors. My name is Scott Hannan. I'm the Secretary of the Maslin Beach Community Association. I send my apologies for Kirstin, our chairperson, who due to work commitments can't be here. I thank you for the opportunity to address council. I also thank those councillors who attended the MBCA community meeting, including your subsequent answers to the questions asked on that night. The purpose of my being here tonight is I've been asked by members of our community to address a matter of concern that affects a significant portion of our residents: the proposed removal of the rebate from the Community Wastewater Management System, or the CWMS, in the draft budget 24-25. The City of Alding's recommendation to remove the CWMS rebate is not only unfair but also inequitable. The fact that 6% of ratepayers, primarily those in the CWMS, are being asked to contribute to 48% of the projected surplus highlights a significant disparity in the burden placed on these residents compared to others in the community. Maslin Beach ratepayers, along with others on the CWMS, namely McLaren Vale, McLaren Flat, Sellicks Beach, Noarlunga, and parts of Clarendon and Morford Vale, are being unfairly targeted to shoulder the financial weight of the council's past debts without due consideration for their financial well-being. It's important to recognise that CWMS plays a vital role in our community, providing essential services for the collection and management of wastewater in several suburbs within the city of Aldinga. The full cost recovery model for the CWMS may exceed the actual cost to maintain the system, and the rebate is a way for the council to return any excess fees back to the ratepayers. The removal of this rebate without proper consultation, transparency on full costings, or consideration of the impact on residents is unjust and unfair. The decision to retain the CWMS was made after careful consideration by the community and council last year. However, subsequent revelations that the rebate may still be at risk of removal poses a significant challenge to the fairness and equity of the system. The council's commitment to listening to the pros and cons of such a motion after the initial vote to retain the CWMS shows a willingness to engage with the community feedback. For the lack of clarity and communication about the potential consequences raised concerns about transparency and accountability. The lack of transparency in how this decision was reached is concerning. The council has not adequately informed residents about the potential removal of the CWMS rebate. The council is not actively informing ratepayers, but relying solely on the information presented in the online draft budget. This lack of communication and engagement with affected ratepayers raises questions about the council's commitment to openness and accountability. Residents deserve to be fully informed about changes that directly impact their financial obligations and should have the opportunity to provide feedback and input before such decisions are finalised. Your say may have been an opportunity, but the timing from the budget being released and your say closing was not a long period of time for ratepayers to adequately be aware of the removal of the CWMS rebate and how this would affect them. Through conversations with residents, we've identified the draft budget as confusing without actively knowing what to look for. The removal of the rebate appears to be hidden in plain sight. Potentially misleading information presented in the draft budget saying that for every $100 spent, $6.54 goes into wastewater management, including the CWMS. Failed to accurately represent how these funds are utilised. This misrepresentation obscures the true cost and impact of the CWMS on ratepayers and residents in our community. Further highlighting the need for transparency and clarity in financial decisions that affect residents' wallets. Furthermore, the Maslin Beach Community Association has been actively engaging with residents and advocating for their interests. Over 400 signatures in petition have been collected, demonstrating widespread support for repaying the CWMS rebate. The plan to remove the rebate represents a stark inequity with 6% of ratepayers contributing to 48% of the proposed $3.3 million budget surplus. This is on top of the increased rate of rate revenue proposed at 6.8%. This unequal and unfair division of cost recovery can lead to increased financial hardship for around 4,500 ratepayers, each potentially being out of pocket up to $500, particularly during a cost of living crisis. It's imperative that council continues to provide the rebate loans and CWMS scheme to alleviate financial strain on these residents. Additionally, the MBCA urges the council to advocate to the state government to have SA Water take over the CWMS as a matter of priority to ensure better management and cost efficiency for ratepayers. The financial impact of the proposed removal of the rebate cannot be understated. With the burden disproportionately falling on a small percentage of ratepayers, many residents are faced with prospects of increased financial hardship over time, and the cost of living is already a significant concern. The decision to remove the rebate, coupled with a planned increase in rate revenue, will result in a substantial financial burden for many residents, affecting their ability to meet their daily expenses and pushing some into financial distress. Furthermore, the continued reliance on a system of the CWMS raises concern in question about the efficiency and effectiveness of the current setup. Residents are understandably confused about why council has not pursued a transition to SA Water, which could potentially offer cost savings to residents and better service provision. The lack of clarity on this matter leaves residents wondering why their similar system may not be in their best interest financially and logistically. The decision to retain the CWMS private community was not to retain an antiquated system, but to retain a public asset and due to privatisation. Council may have opportunities to sell CWMS to SA Water, but profits may be placed on the people in order to increase the bottom line. In light of this concern, it is crucial for council to reassess its decision regarding the removal of the CWMS rebate and seek alternative solutions that prioritise the well-being of all ratepayers in the city of Aldinga. Maintaining the rebate for the CWMS ratepayers is essential to ensuring financial equity and stability for those who rely on these essential services. Additionally, advocating state government for the transfer of CWMS to SA Water could offer long-term benefits in terms of cost efficiency and service quality for residents. In conclusion, the proposed removal of CWMS rebate from the draft budget 24-25 poses significant challenges to the financial well-being of many residents in our community. The lack of transparency, the disproportionate burden on the CWMS ratepayers, and potential for increased financial hardships underscore the need for council to reconsider the decision to explore more equitable and sustainable solutions. I urge the council to engage with the affected residents, listen to their concerns, and work towards a fair and equitable outcome that prioritises the interests of all ratepayers in the city of Aldinga. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much, Scott. I'll ask, are there any questions? Councillor Yeomans.
Yeah, thanks, Scott, for running up and having a bit of a chat. Just in general terms, what's the role of the committee and what sort of activities and functions does the Maslin Beach Community Association actually do?
Thank you. Maslin Beach Community Association started around 1976, based on numerous other Maslin Beach community organisations. Our role is to listen to the concerns of the residents of Maslin Beach through our constitution and identify what is, being a voice to council as well, and have an understanding of what the community is after.
And you got a strong membership within the community?
That's correct. Over the last year, we've increased membership from around 40 unknowns to around 188 to 190 to this day.
Just a couple more if I can. I see there's a petition that's going to be presented to council later this evening. I'm just wondering how you went about putting that petition together. Through the petition, obviously we've been made aware through the draft budget and go through council and identifying the best avenues to go through and do that. We put a call out for our volunteers, door locked all of Maslin Beach, the triangle of Maslin Beach, and through the volunteers we identified their concerns and actually placed in my deputation of that they weren't aware of the draft budget proposal, and through that we were able to get those over 403 signatures. Linking with that, we're able to also reach out through other Facebook groups, through Sellicks Beach, but also I believe the petition based on the information we were able to provide. But unfortunately, other suburbs, other wards, we weren't able to link into their community groups to get this message across. Yeah, I was going to ask you actually that at that point, whether once you become aware of what was going on with the draft budget, whether you reached out to other communities and what challenges you had, but that's the other part. We try and reach out to them. This is not just about Maslin Beach; it's about the other everyone on CWMS, and we believe it's our opportunity to make people aware of what's occurring. Acknowledge it's human nature to resist any form of tax or fee increase, but I'm interested in, from your discussions with the community, what approximate percentage of people were against the removal of the CWMS rebate and what the reasons might have been for that.
Understandably, everyone we've engaged with through our petitioning and emailing was 100% of that. The unfortunate thing is they're not aware of what the CWMS ultimately is. They believe it's the desludging of their septic tanks every 4 years. Understandably, there's a lot more involved in that, and trying to make them aware of the full cost recovery of the system. It's not the $1,234, whatever it is. It's what the cost of that system is for that year, not the full cost of what they call it.
I just asked you to comment a couple of things if I can. One of the resolutions from the November council meeting, where it was carried to retain the water assets owned by council, one of the resolutions was notes a transition plan for full cost recovery will be presented for consideration as part of the 24-25 budget process for the CWMS system, in line with ISCOSA of South Australia adopting the pricing principles. So what does that mean to you, and what would you expect elected members to take and consider from that resolution?
So I asked elected members council to consider what the full cost means of that system. Understandably, they need to pay it to the community or those of the CWMS that need to pay it. The resolution that I'm aware of came about after the community and the council voted to retain the CWMS. Everyone we've engaged about retaining that CWMS was to keep a public asset, not to have it privatised, and their fear of if through that privatisation have those costs increase. Funny enough, when we go through last year, prior to that, the vote and the sale and retaining the CWMS, I recall a proposal that was in there that if it moved and if it was passed, there'd be 5 years where through privatisation, the cost wouldn't increase. Funny enough, if it was privatised, they would pretty much link into the contract ending in 2029 of the contract now. So I think that wouldn't change anyway, even if it did go through.
Yeah.
My understanding as well that resolution was not a foregone conclusion. It's an opportunity for the council to listen of why it should or why it shouldn't be rebate.
Just two more if I can. And also, can I just ask you to comment on an extract from the current annual business plan? It says the council acknowledges that charging CWMS customers a return on capital and allowance for risk generates more revenue than is required to cover the annual CWMS operating and capital costs. So in your discussions with the community, what was the community's reaction to council looking to charge a fee they previously did not consider fit to charge?
They were happy. There's a lot of community through our door knocking. We talked to the first person out of the door when we notified them about what was occurring with the removal of the rebate that's never occurred before. They weren't happy. They then called out other adults who are in the house to listen to that information again. Yeah, they weren't happy.
And just finally, now we've just so you're aware, we've received clarity now from the administration that any revenue raised from the CWMS will be directed to a reserve specifically to fund CWMS services only. In the years to come, if this reserve creates a significant surplus, what would you like to happen to that extra money?
For the money, it'd be good because I understand through budgets and so forth, it talks about there's an opportunity for that money. Any increased money to reduce costs. What would be good to see is that money, if it's $20 million built up and they only need $10 million to maintain and keep the system working, that is provided as a subsidy or a reduction in the CWMS costs.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your time. Thanks again for your presentation.
Councillor Wilkes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
That's right.
I really appreciate it. I'm going to refer to the same resolution that Councillor Yeomans has referred to. It's a couple of dot points under where we did decide to immediately stop the divestment process and retain the asset. So we've said in there that we are going to prepare an advocacy plan to the state government and local and federal members and SA Water to consider taking on the asset. And you also spoke about that in your deputation about how that could be a feasible option. What I was wondering was how do you feel council can best advocate to have this asset taken or controlled now by SA Water, and how can Maslin's Beach Community Association support that?
Well, we support that. So the local community want SA Water to take over. Not necessarily, just going to be cheaper or ultimately will be cheaper possibly. But the Maslin Beach Community Association, through our advocacy and membership we can assist council in getting that messaging across as well about how SA Water may assist.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think there's no further questions. Thank you for your time, Scott. We appreciate you coming and representing the views of your Maslin Beach Community Association.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Next up, our deputation is from Michael Bourne, if he could like to make his way up. Michael's here representing residents as well from the Lifestyle SA retirement villages, and he's talking also about a rebate matter, but not about CWMS, about a discretionary rate rating. And Michael, he knows he's got 8 minutes, and I told him I'd be ruthless if he kept talking after the 8 minutes, and he believed me. So there we go. Off you go. The time starts now. Once you get organised.
Somebody going to be changing my slides for me.
Yes, I think that's possible. Yes, because it's.
Do you need a cue or anything?
Or you want to use your clicker? What would you like to? What would work best for you?
I better start talking because they started the clock. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for considering this application for discretionary rates rebate on behalf of 3 retirement villages in the city of Onkaparinga. Forest Place, the Reserve, the Sands, all are owned and operated by Lifestyle SA. The application is made under the Local Government Act, which states that a council may grant a rebate of rates where the land is being used by an organization which, in the opinion of council, provides a benefit or service to the local community. The 3 villages involved in this application contain just over 800 residents and 578 units, which account for 25% of independent living units in Onkaparinga. The residents in these villages do not own their units. We enter into a license to occupy. Residents pay the full purchase price for their units, plus a deferred payment when they leave the village. For example, 1% of the purchase price for each year in the village. So a resident who paid 300,000 after 20 years will pay 60,000 back to the operator Lifestyle SA. In addition, residents fully fund the operation, maintenance, administration, and improvement of their village through payment of monthly maintenance fees. The maintenance budget for Forest Place in the last year was 1.167 million, the reserve 705,000, and the sand 857,000. All of that money is funded by the residents. The average annual maintenance fee per unit is 3,375, and council rates per unit go for average from 1,200 to 1,500. Residents then, in addition to the council rates, are paying approximately 2 to 3 times that amount to fully operate the villages. Services provided to the villages by council are garbage collection, hard garbage collection, community bus, and of course, we recognize that we use a wide range of council services provided across the city. The services normally provided by council that our residents fully fund are street lighting, road surface and guttering maintenance and repair, road sweeping, water pipe maintenance and repair, and tree maintenance and tree lopping. We accept the above responsibilities as part of our commitment to the villages and to our local areas. However, it remains that we bear the full costs, and that while we pay full council rate, we are not providing the same services as other residents in the city. In terms of benefits and services provided by the villages within the council area, a prime objective of our residents is to provide active, connected social communities that allow residents to maintain independence and well-being. Through our maintenance fees, we operate and maintain the following facilities in each village: a community center with main hall, kitchen facilities, meeting rooms, library, an indoor swimming pool, a fitness center, bowling greens in 2 of the villages, pub rooms in 2 of the villages, and in Forest Place tennis courts. Perhaps in view of the extensive facilities being provided, can it be asked, would council support the development of such meeting and sports facilities wherever possible throughout the council area? And would they consider rates, rebate, assistance for similar services to the facility, to the community, such as bowling clubs and community associations? The council's community plan 2030 notes, we provide opportunities for people to maintain and improve their health and well-being in ways that suit their preferences and abilities. In this regard, the residents in our villages organize and provide the following, all as volunteers. And there's a list here and on the next slide that you can move to for you to read through. Many of these activities relate to the maintenance of physical activity, social interaction, mental and social well-being. So the question could be again asked, are these activities similar to those provided by others that are eligible for rates rebate, for example, community centers, community organizations, bowling clubs? We also seek to provide activities that focus on supporting the wider community through biggest morning teas, sewing groups that support charitable organizations, music performances and aged care facilities, bottling can recycling programs. We also have some professional services available on fee for service. Just regarding biggest morning tea in Forest Place in May, we raised $2,500 for the Childhood Cancer Association. In June alone, as per this monthly planner, you can see that Forest Place residents will run over 5 activities. In 23-24, the Sands residents will have run over 400 activities and events. While able to live independently, many residents are unable to attend activities and services in the wider Onkaparinga community due to lack of transportation or limited mobility. For these residents, the above activities are particularly important in reducing loneliness, isolation, while maintaining independence, social connectedness, and mental well-being. The proposed rebate that we're putting forward is 10%. While we do maintain that we're saving council money by fully funding some services that council would normally provide for the over 800 Onkaparinga citizens in our villages, we strongly believe we are eligible for a rates rebate under the Act, in that we provide a benefit or service to the local community. The council's community plan 2030 states we encourage sustainable residential development that improves our city's livability and values our natural areas. The council's 10-year vision also includes a connected, friendly, and supportive community, clean and well-maintained natural environment and streetscapes. Hopefully, these images give you the impression of the highly developed, built and natural environments found in these three villages that are in keeping with the council's plan and vision. So in conclusion, it is proposed that the 800 Onkaparinga citizens in these three retirement villages are supporting council's overall objectives and providing benefit and service to the community through full funding and maintenance of high quality built and natural environments, and the development of vibrant communities that foster social connection, mental well-being, and prolonged independence, and therefore merit some consideration of a discretionary rates rebate. Thank you for your consideration.
Thanks. Mark, are you happy to take questions? Councillor Platten has one for you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Michael, for your presentation. You've convinced me. I want to move in. Have you got any? I just have a question regarding the facilities that you talked about, and whether you have any ability to allow the general public in to use those facilities.
The only allowance would be family members and friends who come as guests. Yeah, and that's a restriction set up by the owners, not really. Yeah. So facilities are primarily for residents and their social movement.
Councillor Wilkes, thank you for your presentation. It does look awesome. I just wanted to build on that and just ask, because you had a really full program there. Are the programs that are run in the centre as well, are they residents only or family or?
Yeah, primarily residents.
Okay.
So we have 800 residents that we're trying to provide services to that are over and above what the owner and operator will provide.
Okay.
They only manage the facilities. They do not organize any activity. They do not provide any services in that regard, just the infrastructure that we wind up then paying for after we move in. So all of those services there are targeted at our residents.
Residents only.
That's really what we can manage, and that's our primary concern, is supporting each other as neighbours and friends.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councillor Fisher.
Michael, thank you for your presentation. I only have one question. How did you come to the 10% figure?
I believe there have been previous requests for rebates that were higher, and the different percentage rebates that are allowed under the legislation, under the Act, range from 100% to less than that. I don't think it goes as low as 10. I may have gotten that figure based on Tea Tree Gully Council that did grant this kind of rebate in 2022, and it was granted at 10%. And so I believe that's where it came from.
I don't think there's any more questions, so thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Shari's up next, Shari Dugan from, she's going to be speaking with us tonight about the SALHN beach boat ramp and some car parking issues. And she's also indicated she's more than happy to answer any questions. So once she gets up here. And Councillor Wilkes is providing a pictorial for us, a picture of where we're looking at. So Shari, your time's yours and off you go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and councillors, for allowing me to present this evening. My name is Shari Dugan, and I'm speaking about the boat ramp and about specifically getting some single car bays reinstated. I believe it was motion 11.2 be the one that's in relation to. A bit of background, my husband and I relocated to Christie's Beach with our 3 daughters and dog Ned from Whaler at the end of 2012. We've always lived near the beach, and having a dog, we're excited to know that we were near the dog beach at O'Sullivan Beach. We all still live in the area with the addition of one of my daughter's partners and our 2-year-old grandson. We love living in this area and have regularly made use of the beach, sporting facilities, walking trails all over Christie's and Surrey. Our daughters attended schools in the area, and they and myself also work in Christie's and nearby. Over these 12 years, we have most often utilised the dog beach. As a family who love the beach and having a dog, it was really good to be able to bring Ned along with us. Currently, I walk in the area 5 to 6 mornings each week and some evenings. As Ned is now very old, I walk with a neighbour and her 3 dogs, 2 of whom are quite big. Weather permitting, I like to take my grandson Ryder down to the dog beach, entering from the O'Sullivan Beach end. I used to park in the lower car park at the boat ramp. I heard that people were getting fined for parking there and that the parking spaces for beach users had been removed. When I heard the state government was funding the upgrade of the boat ramp, I believed that we might get extra parking spaces along the rock wall adjacent to the beach that shows in the map photo that you have. And then to find out that we actually have none. I now had to park in the upper car park and help my young grandson, who does not want to be carried, down the very steep and dangerous steps to the dog beach, and then to carry him up the stairs because he wanted to get carried up because he was tired by then. As you can see on the photos, one of the handrails is covered by bush and the other has come loose and wobbles a bit. They're always clogged with sand. I was particularly annoyed at all of this, especially since the low car park is mostly empty during the week, and the only time I've seen it full was one Saturday morning in February. I wrote to council at that time expressing my concerns, and I have received a written response. However, obviously I'm not happy with it and I'd like some things, so while I'm here. Since the boat ramp upgrade, local community members have lost close access to the dog beach. Where is the fairness in that for local residents? Previously, there had been a few single car bays next to the beach entrance. These provided safe access for residents with excitable dogs, and I think of my neighbour's big ones, that can pull you down the stairs because we can't, by law, take them off their lead until we actually are on the beach. Residents with older dogs that cannot navigate the stairs, families with a dog and young children, elderly residents who do not qualify for a disability permit are now disadvantaged, and barriers are now in the way that weren't for the last however many years. I've been here 12, some say that it's been at least 30. So why as ratepayers should we miss out? As recently as just yesterday morning, because I went to take some photos and a bit more observing, I observed a young dog had run back towards the cars, and the elderly owner, I didn't even see them, hadn't even come off the beach yet, and I feared that they might run into the paths of the cars or get run over in the upper car park. If she was allowed to park near the entrance, it wouldn't be a problem. As I was leaving, I observed another elderly lady with 2 dogs on leads, and she had a carry on her chest with another dog in, and she had to walk all the way towards the cafe and then back up to her car, which is also shown on those maps. And we think it could be from one end about 300 metres, and it's uphill, and there's no path on the lower car park to actually follow. You'd be on the road from the cafe to the entrance. And she wouldn't have been able to do the stairs. And I won't mention again the handrails and the accessibility. And that distance can be quite significant. There's a picture of my car that's at the top of the upper car park. You'd have to go all the way down and around. I've read that there are planning projects for better, safer access. However, they say they may be considered for delivery in 2026-2027 financial year. That's 3 years too long to wait for a bit more safety for our residents. A deck has been built by the new cafe owners, so I'm hoping that this will start to be open more days and longer hours and hopefully bring an increase in patronage to this prime location. This would then put further strain on parking availability for dog walkers and other beach users. It's a long way down to the bottom near and then along to the beach entrance. There is not always clear access from the Christie's end due to the creek when there has been significant rainfall, and I please ask that council or whoever pays for it do not waste any more money trying to correct that problem, because nature will take its own course from the creek down. So don't waste money on that. Give us better facilities at SALHN Beach End. It's like I said, it's rare that the lower car park is full, except maybe weekends and public holidays. Is needed to be used by cars and with trailers and other spaces. Of course, they could still be used there. Like, we're not saying that they have to just be for single cars, but when they're available, we can use them. It's not even as though the people are parking there all day. Most generally walk their dogs for an hour, and then in summer, maybe families. Tonight, I'm here in support of motion 11.2 that hopefully says 3 single car bays that were previously there before the upgrade be reinstated, with the addition of 2 more single car bays adjacent to the beach entrance on the lower car park. 3 to 4 years for other accessibility projects is too long to wait, and until such time, these parking bays are required. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Shari. Question from Councillor Wilkes.
Thank you, Shari. Thank you. I'm in full support as well, because this is my ward, and I've heard from you and so many other residents how these car parks need to be reinstated. So I just wanted to ask you, if you had a crystal ball and you could look at the area, what would you and other beach users like to actually see in that space?
Okay. As I walk there all the time, if I could, I would have a ramp from the upper car park to the lower, just because the stairs are really steep. But the gravel car park, I don't know if it shows, but it's a bit further up towards, I believe it's behind where the boats are kept with the sailing club. That would be bitumised and an actual ramp straight down onto the beach where maybe in the olden days, I don't know how long ago, that it looks like it's cut out that it could be accessed straight down to the beach. Perhaps boats did use that then. It would be well before my time. And that would be what I'd like to see as the maximum, but obviously, yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can get 11.2 through, and you'll just get some car parks direct access for now, and that can be in the future.
Might save that for your debate.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thanks so much, Shari. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I'd now like to invite Bridget Gardiner to join us for her deputation. Bridget's going to be talking with us about vehicles on the foreshore, so another part of our coastline, but a bit further south. Bridget, you're welcome to come up here to the lectern. And I think you're familiar with that spot. We've got 8 minutes, so the bell will go at something you'd like to pass around. Perhaps maybe one of the staff can help distribute those for you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Desma. You ready to go?
I have some, if we play the slides maybe.
Okay.
First.
All right. Off you go.
Capacity is no longer there, which is that I've seen has actually become car parks and also we're now more aware of the importance of protection of habitat for wildlife and making the beaches safe, not only for wildlife, but also for people. Capacity is no longer there, which is that I've seen.
Yeah.
And there should be some slides, just photos. Hoon driving, bog cars, that's nighttime. That's the morning evidence. Hooded plovers behind that. Keep going, please. Just keep rolling them because it's just visual support, really. Thank you. Pebble bank cars. I might start talking because that can just roll on. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting. I pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'm the head petitioner and representative of community and visitors to our beaches. This report reads, the report that I'm responding to reads like a press release as to how well vehicles on beaches are managed while not addressing any of the issues raised by the petitioners, while focusing on car parking and vehicles rather than community safety and environmental protection. It refers to bylaw 6 as if all is well and that no change can or should be made to managing vehicles on the beaches. If that is so, the behaviour by vehicles in these two videos clearly demonstrates that current management is missing a lot. The photo evidence, the results of nighttime hoon driving, vehicle tracks on the Pebble Bank, motorbike oil on the Pebble Bank at the Wash Pool, a significant Ghana cultural site, and often the first nesting location of hooded plovers until they are scared by night hoons. The existing free vehicle area on Aldinga Beach has made the beach a safer place by limiting the ability to drive on Aldinga and Sellicks. This was established in the early 2000s. It has slowed speed and reduced traffic volume. It is a safe, quiet space that is widely used by beachgoers, the surf club, and other income-generating tourist businesses such as Aldinga skydiving, which is why we need to extend the area. It is time to expand on these modest measures and improve safety again. Vehicles are regularly seen on the soft sand and Pebble Bank. The 10k speed limit, vehicles at 10k are very obvious because very few drive at 10k. 20 to 50 is the norm unless police or rangers are visible. After hours, vehicles are regularly hoon driving before and after 12 p.m. We hear them, we see the evidence in the morning. It's also time to ask that question, should they still be there? Boat launching in the shared zone with swimmers on Aldinga Beach and children. This is not a safe practice. A risk assessment should be done. The jet ski QR code worked minimally because there were not enough signs on posts on the beach. That should be established. It did improve because I think jet ski people were alerted to the fact that they were being watched. Accidents. There may not be reports, but there are numerous near misses. In early 24 this year, myself and a parent of 2 young children had to pull a middle-aged man speeding towards the children. He laughed at us when we tried to protect the children from potential harm. The self-entitled attitude of drivers is a serious injury or death waiting. Where is Council's risk assessment of potential injury or death? The petition asks for areas to be considered to provide safety for beachgoers and for environmental protection. Extending the existing vehicle-free area to Wattle Avenue would provide more safe recreational space, protect the last remnant sand dune area on Aldinga Beach. But no, car park space is more important. This area of beach is usually empty unless the beach is at capacity. Wash pool conservation closure to vehicles also is an area that used less by cars because most vehicles tend to cluster near the ramps for convenience. Closing the area would make the Silver Sands to Sellicks foreshore safer by eliminating its use of the road to and from Sellicks. It will reduce speed and reduce traffic. Our petition is not about getting all cars off the beach, but making the beaches safer and promoting respectful use and care of our foreshore. Our petition acknowledges the need for disability access, another issue the report misrepresents. Our petition asks for vehicle-free recreation space at Sellicks. Currently, the bollarded area shown on page 167 is also a 24/7 dog off lead area. Please wake up. Parents and grandparents at Sellicks want a space with no cars and no dogs. But I know cars and parking are always much more important. Now on to parking. There is a significant amount of off-street parking available if beach parking is exhausted. People all over the world go to the beach and carry their gear. Off-street parking would likely only be utilised at peak times. The parking argument is so 1990s, based on fear of some residents complaining. Most will not have a problem if drivers are respectful and park appropriately. Examples are Port Wollonga, I'm going to run out of time. The previous beachgoer survey done in 2000s had diverse views and was successful. Public consultation should be thorough and encouraged. Current consultation templates are often restrictive and structured. The report claims risk management addresses the risk and harm to the environment and safety. Digital and photo evidence clearly demonstrate not all risks are being managed in real time. Financial revenue, given that income in 2005-2006 was only 36,000 from the beach, and we're now projected to get 375,000. Where is the evidence? Claiming that local businesses would suffer financially because of increased vehicle-free space on the beach. Where is the evidence or data? The beach permit states Australian rule roads apply. What does that mean? How to drive on the beach with no lanes or shared zone indication? Who has the right of way and when? Pedestrians or drivers? Where is the risk assessment? The Huda public protection still needs to go a little bit further to keep it to the low water mark so that the birds can actually survive without being shooed away by cars. We currently have 12 to 13 plovers seen daily on the Aldinga beach where the vehicle winter closure is, and that's the way it used to be. In closing, at the very least, please close vehicle assets to the wash pool foreshore to protect the internationally recognised wetland in time. This will be a significant tourist destination for the region if managed correctly, and this should include the foreshore. It is the preferred first nesting site of the hooded plovers. It will eliminate the foreshore as a road to Sellicks and make the beach much safer environment. Extending the vehicle-free area at Wattle will protect the last remnant sand dunes. More safe car-free recreational space for beachgoers and hooded plovers. Sellicks needs a safe space. Consider getting cars off the beach at night. Thank you for the opportunity to make this deputation. Thank you.
For that race to the end there. Take a breath. Councillor Yeomans.
I'll let you catch your breath. Thank you for the presentation, and also thanks for making the time to have a very long discussion recently about this. It's very important to you. I can see your passion. In relation to that report, I think referring to 9.8, which is vehicles on the foreshore, it's outlined the 6 proposals that you've submitted before.
Yeah.
You discussed in your deputation some safety issues to the public and also the environmental concerns. And obviously there's steps along the way with those 6 different proposals. Is there any of those specific proposals that you can see would couple the mitigation of the safety issues to the public as well as the environmental risks?
I think, yes, the answer to that is yes. I mean, clearly, priority, I think, is protecting the wash pool, and by making a permanent vehicle-free area that extends, whether it goes for the whole distance of the conservation park, the boundaries, or whether it's shorter, I don't know, but it would eliminate the use of silver sands to Sellicks being used as a road, which is done regularly, and cars really zoom along there. They don't follow the speed limit. And by closing it off, it also would create the environmental protection for the wash pool, and it is the first nesting spot for the hooded plovers. It slows the beach down. It makes a safer place. Way less cars drive on there because they realise they've got to turn around and come back. And it's not the cars that park on the beach that are really the problem. It's the ones that are moving and the lack of understanding and respect for pedestrians. And also Wattle Avenue, extending the existing car-free area is I think really needed by the community because the area is widely used, it's safe, there's no cars, it's right near the surf club, and as I just said, we've even got skydivers landing there now because there's no cars in the area, so it does generate income as well. I could go on with, put up boom gates, but we've had that conversation as well.
So what you're referring to is probably the second proposal, which is around the wash pool area.
Yes.
I'm just being a local, you're more aware of what situation might be if that was actually closed off, so people could still access south through Sellicks Beach.
You can access the beach from the Sellicks beach ramp, and you can access the beach from the what we call Norman Road ramp, which is that Silver Sands, which is where this Aldinga Bay Surf Life Saving Club is, and the Aldinga, the new restaurant, the Beach Club. There's also loads of parking there as well. So yes, there's plenty of access. It's not a problem.
It would just mean people just want
It just means
to
that
drive
people
through.
have to get out of the old habit of driving from Silver Sands to Sellicks. And years ago, when we fought to get the closure we have now, it was to stop them from driving from Aldinga to Sellicks, which was, I talked about one man who owned a business and he drove to business from Sellicks to Aldinga. That was his way to go to and from work every day. It was along the beach, and that was his biggest complaint. It's not a road. I mean, if it's a road, why have we got pedestrians on it? Why have we got children? Why have we got people lying on the sand? There really needs to be tidied up on many levels because it's very confusing.
And just to finish up, you showed us some photographs initially and videos of some fairly irresponsible behaviour. Would this be an issue for you if the public in the main, I'm sure they are well behaved, if there was hypothetically no irresponsible behaviour and we didn't see any instances of what you're showing us, would this still be an issue for you for cars driving on beaches?
I think there's a tradition that the cars will remain on the beach for some time. I mean, eventually, I think they must go. They're also very polluting. But yes, it would improve safety. In fact, I've got a little bit of a head cold, so I'm getting a bit distracted. But what was your question, Paul?
No, I was just asking if you've raised you've raised two concerns with cars being on beaches. You've got the safety issues to the public, and you've got the environmental concerns.
Yes.
So if everyone behaved themselves perfectly,
Yes.
would that then reduce your concern with the vehicles being?
Absolutely, and I think it would put the people that have signed this petition at ease as well, because some of particularly the environmental degradation that we see, the rubbish we have to pick up, the disrespect for other beach users, and the way that people drive on the pebble bank in their big four-wheel drives and on the soft sand when the signs are all there. No one reads the signs. They don't care. They know they're not going to get fined. No one's around. So yes, it would make a huge difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And
Thank you.
Hope you feel better soon.
Thanks, Bridget. I'm glad we haven't got any more deputations from that microphone. There's no more questions, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So we'll move to item 8, and there are no items there, which was committee reports. Item 9, so if you're following electronically, it's page 27. And item 9.1 is council rebates 2024 to 25. Councillor Platten. I don't believe there's any updates. No, Councillor Platten.
Hello, I'm happy to move 1 and 3. Please.
And do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I have a few things to say. My first point would be that I totally understand Michael's position and the position of the villages that he was representing tonight. But there's one thing that I have taken away from my time here in council, and that is that we are not a fee for service. And while I completely respect that they look after their amazing grounds, they had some beautiful photos, because we're not a fee for service, we can't go down that rabbit hole. So thank you.
Councillor Bell, a question or seconding? Seconding, thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just to say that I support what 1 and 3 says, obviously, and thank the staff for providing all the information they have with the recommendations that clearly this is the best option in terms of being equitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkes. Question or debate?
Question, please.
Go ahead.
Okay, so page 32, mandatory rebates, 100% religious purposes. In section 162 of the Local Government Act, 1999 provides that rates on lands contained a church or other buildings used for public worship and any grounds, or lands used solely for religious purposes will be rebated at 100%. I was just wondering how that's proven.
Happy to take that. Thank you.
So through the Mayor, each year when we do our rebate review, we do ask for a statutory declaration to be provided by all of the ratepayers that state that their property is being used for religious purposes.
Okay. And do we just trust them?
That's the question I want to ask.
I believe the statutory declaration does have some legal obligations attached to it. Which maybe a question could be, have those legal obligations ever been tested? Okay. Have those legal obligations ever been tested?
Through the Mayor, we have not been or been asked to challenge the information provided in the statutory declarations. So no, they have not been challenged.
So when supplementary question, when we have our rating review in August, is that something that we can include or challenge? Statutory declaration.
Yeah, so through the Mayor, the mandatory rebates need to be applied as per the Act, but we certainly could include something in our policy that asks, for some further supporting, I guess, supporting evidence about their status.
Okay, thank you. That would be great. I have another question. Sorry, page 36, the 50% rebate for discretionary rebates. RSPCA 25 Mayor Road, Lonsdale is in there. Now, I believe, so if they are vacating that land and have a new site, what sort of happens if they get rebated for the whole year and they sell that site? Or
so through the Mayor, if they sell the property, the rebate doesn't automatically transfer to whoever takes over that property. They would need to demonstrate that they meet the criteria for a rebate themselves.
Okay, through statutory declaration.
Correct. Okay. Well, actually, in that case, it would be a new application that would need to come to council for approval.
Okay. And I think I have one more. Just find it. So the discretionary rebates, no, actually, I might leave that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Young, is a question or debate?
Just two questions. First one, do pensioners in general receive a discount on their rates?
So through the Mayor, councils in South Australia don't offer a pensioner discount, but pensioners and other concession card holders can apply to through Centrelink or Services SA for a cost of living concession, which can be then used to pay part of their council rates.
Okay, and just second one, if I can, on page 37, there's a 100% rebate, Mr. Gavin Malone, for an address there at McLaren Vale. Do you know what that is for?
So through the Mayor, it is in relation to preservation of buildings and historic significances. I would need to obtain more information about that specific property though.
Thank you.
Councillor Pritchard, question or debate?
This question, Wilkes. Just in the rebate policy, is it mentioned that discretionary rebates are automatically transferred from one year to the other, or is that an assumed item?
So through the Mayor, the policy does state that the rebates would need to be reapproved through council, and we do that through the resolution, which is asking for the ongoing for rebates to be applied ongoing to those receiving discretionary rebate. We will also be bringing the rate policy back to council in August. It is due for review, but given the discussions around the CWMS rebate, which is also part of that rebate policy, we thought we would wait until there was a decision made and then can update the policy based on the decision.
Councillor Wilkes. Thank you, Jade. So I just want to ask the process for the discretionary rebates, just building on that. So we've obviously had an application tonight that if the motion's passed, it won't be successful. Did all of these other discretionary rebates, were they all at one point brought to the chamber and approved?
So through the mayor, that is correct. We provided some informal question responses to Councillor Pritchard, which identified the year that the discretionary rebates were first applied for all of these ratepayers.
Just remembering that there are mandatory ones as well. So you're just referring to discretionary? Yeah. Thank you.
So then, supplementary question. If we have, when we do have the rating review in August, can I just get confirmation that all of the discretionary rebates will be revisited? Is that correct?
Through the mayor, the purpose of the rating review is to look at the structure of rating, so looking at how we distribute the total amount of rates across all of our ratepayers. The rating policy will be coming back to council in August, and that would be an opportunity to revisit some of the clauses that are in that policy for applying discretionary rebates.
Okay. Will we be able to request a review of those discretionary rebate recipients?
So as I understand it, it's a review to identify the policy. Yes. So once we've got the policy in place, then that will be applied to all of the classes of potential people with rebates. So we will do the high level, like what are the things should be rebated for? Yes, those classes. Tell me when I get this wrong. And then we would then look at who's there and see how that would be applied.
Okay. But we won't be.
That's linked to the way that the Local Government Act is created.
Okay.
And through the mayor, thank you for that, Mayor. You're correct, Councillor Wilkes, that we wouldn't be asking for these recipients to reapply. What the policy would do would set out the process, and then we would look to take that forward. So if there was a change in the process that was identified in the policy, such as applicants had to reapply each year rather than just proving or stating that their operations haven't changed since their application, then that would be taken forward as part of the next time we apply rebates.
Excellent. I will make sure that I have some chats with you about that before August.
No worries.
Thank you.
No further questions or debate. Councillor Platten, would you like to close? You need to press your button. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 9.2, the 2024-25 rates modelling. I don't believe there's any updates. Councillor Bell.
I just wanted to move that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
No.
Do I have a second? Councillor Eaton.
I'll say no, don't need to speak to it.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Debate. Councillor Bell, would you like to close? You need to press your button. Thank you.
Sorry, I will say something. I just wanted to thank the staff for the report they've put together, which came with this recommendation. I think it's clear from the work that was done and the presentation, and also from last year's work that the decision we made, that I think this is the best equitable option. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Councillor Platten, all those against? Motion's carried. Questions from the gallery. Item 9.3. Councillor Bell.
Yes, I'd like to move number 1.
Number 1. Do you wish to speak to the item?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I'd like to thank Councillor Dew for originally recommending that this be looked at, and I also thank the staff for their report and the information provided. As I remember mentioning at the time, I felt that it's important, obviously, for us to be as transparent as possible with everything we do, and I think we do a very good job of that, and the council does a very good job of that. I also believe very strongly that we are probably the most accessible elected members in the country, as in local government elected members, because anyone can ring me at any time. As well as that, of course, people can access us through emails. we provide ability for them to talk to us when we go to listening posts, or provide wherever I walk, wherever I go, people might recognise me and do ask me questions, and I'm happy with that. As page 50 and 51 says, elected members on behalf of residents are able to contact us directly, put in an inquiry, help us even draft questions on motions, questions on notice and formal questions. They can provide reputations and petitions. They can access the customer service desk, online website portal. There's a complaints management process, a freedom of information process, transparency, integrity, access, etc. As well as that, I believe strongly that this is our place of work, and it still allows, as mentioned, for residents to participate. But I do believe very strongly that I think we need to allow us to do the work without interruptions. I believe that we'd go late into the night and we'd need to reconsider having or reconvening other council meetings just to accommodate if we were to go towards having questions directly from the gallery. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Greaves, second or question?
Thank you. A quick bit of debate, actually.
Sorry, I need the item to be
seconding it. Thank you. So interestingly, I bumped into an old friend this week who moved to Melrose a couple of years ago, and he's a bit of a strange cat, lovely guy, but he attends every council meeting. He's very interested in the what's happening in his new community. And he said they've got question time. They've got half an hour before every meeting for question time. And then the council made a decision to abolish it. There was a bit of an uproar from those local residents who do attend. And so they decided to keep it. The very next meeting, question time, and I think there were 2 questions that lasted less than 10 minutes, and everyone sat there twiddling their thumbs for 20 minutes before the formal beginning of the meeting could commence. So I think it's a great idea. However, reflecting on Councillor Bell's commentary, there are so many other ways for our residents to ask questions and have them answered. And very rightly so, this is a place of work, and we have very full agendas. And so, look, and as much as it's a wonderful civic idea, I think it's best that we maintain sort of a structured approach to the way we deal with the business at hand. So that's why I'm supporting.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Fisher. Question or debate?
Debate. But I'm all for transparency as well. My own concern is that if we do implement this change, that we have sufficient policy and guidelines to make sure that it's regulated in the appropriate way. And what I mean by that is the fact that it's not a breakfast. You're given an opportunity to say your piece. There's an interaction and that sort of thing, and it's controlled. I don't want to see disruption in this place of work to the detriment of allowing someone to speak in the gallery.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkes, a question?
I just had a bit of debate, please. Okay. So I was in favour of number 2, sort of exploring questions from the gallery, and I just wanted to voice my reasonings why. I thought maybe we could have looked at in the report, we could have looked at a possible time frame to try this out. There's obviously 5 other councils that are doing it, and they've got different restrictions for councils, like specific time limits for questions from the gallery. They have to be provided in advance. As supplementary questions can be. So I was sort of in support of question 2, so I won't be voting for for 1.
Thank you. Councillor Themeliotis.
Yes, just some quick debate as well, and sort of along the lines with Councillor Wilkes as well. I was willing to at least test this. Why? For a couple of things, and I pick on some of the other debate where they say, well, this is a place of business, and that's absolutely right. This is a place of business, and I'm employed by my residents, and they come here to seek information and seek guidance. And yes, there is multiple avenues that residents can communicate with us. But what we have learnt through when we engage with our residents, that we have to try brand new methods to get people to engage further with us. Now, giving a deputation from a resident, sometimes you're not really confident in doing that. It's daunting. And giving a presentation can be daunting. But submitting a question early and coming to this chamber and having it answered, so it's not like people are going to be yelling out questions. They're going to be submitted early and the answers will be presented. It'll actually be quite a controlled answering of questions. So I'm willing to at least, like Councillor Wilkes said, give this a go for maybe 12 months, give it a trial, see what it might look like, and then come back and say, okay, it worked or it didn't work, or people didn't want to participate or did want to participate. So elected members, if you're considering of maybe giving this a trial, we can definitely do that.
Thank you. Councillor Yeomans.
Just a quick debate, okay? Yeah, also I support Councillor Bell as it's written here. One of the other things that's not written here, but it's very important, is that as well as us being accessible via the means that Councillor Bell was explaining, we also got some fantastic support from staff, and the turnaround for questions when there is some queries raised by the members of the public, whether it be phone or email. If you don't get an answer back in a couple of days, you know that the answer's coming. And I think in that regard, the public probably can't ask for a better service than that for a turnaround for a question and answer. So that's a service that I certainly value and I appreciate, and I think that does help with that communication with members of the public. So I'm more than comfortable with this resolution as it sits. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Yeomans. Councillor Bell, would you wish to close debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried. 9.4. So this is about the revocation of community land classification, and I don't think there's any updates. Not for this one. No. Do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I believe as written. It's all explained in the report, so it doesn't need any debate.
Seconded, Councillor Bell. Are you seconding, or do you have a question?
No, I'm seconding. I'm very happy for this to go ahead. It's very exciting. Just to say, it's very exciting to see this happening, for this area to expand and be protected.
Any questions? Further debate? Do you wish to close debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Thank you. Item 9.5, and I do think there is a little update for this one. Off you go.
Through the Mayor, members, I just want to provide some clarification about the recommendations. So recommendation 3, which is in multiple parts A, B, C, is actually meant to be moved as a block, as the entire recommendation, not a pick and choose of A and B or C. Now, the reason it's been drafted like this is that negotiations with Renewal SA for this land haven't commenced, and this gives the council full options in that process. So usually council's policy would be to negotiate on the basis of the best value outcome proposition, and what this recommendation is asking, that we also consider and council give permission for council for the administration to also negotiate for non-financial returns, and so they are dealt with in B, and C is potentially a combination of both. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Wilkes.
I'd like to move as written, please.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak?
Yes, please. Go ahead. So this parcel of land is in our ward, myself and Councillor Platten, and it borders a large parcel of land that has already been acquired by Renewal SA, where they plan to put, I think it's 600 homes, 1,200 new residents. I can't wait to represent them. That would be fabulous. But that particular parcel of land already has already committed 15% of those houses will be social and community housing. So I think that's fabulous that it's already on the forefront of the government's mind that they need to up housing for Housing SA. I love how that's incorporated in 3B. I think that's a really good point. I'd like to also acknowledge that the report indicates that we would like to be paid for the piece of land that is bordering new and new SA's land, and I hope that can happen to support council. I'd like to acknowledge the hard work of staff who have negotiated really great terms for a lot of our greenfield development, especially highlighting this chamber's desire for more trees in developments, mix of housing styles. We want footpaths. We want a workable layout that allows for the developments not just to be cookie cutter homes next to homes, and I hope that that thread can be taken into the development that happens on this site. I think this also ties into motion 9.7 that we're going to see later, which is our draft for the urban greening strategy for metropolitan Adelaide. And I hope that we can have some really great aspects, really great greening aspects in the future development of this site. So lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to Council for point 5, which will provide us with a further report presented to this chamber following the outcome of the consultation. So I appreciate that as well. So thank you for the work that you've done on this report.
Thank you. Councillor Fisher, are you seconding the motion?
I'll second the motion and I have debate as well.
Go ahead.
So I support the resolution as written, and just for clarification question, the or is taken out of that?
Well, it's the or between A and B, because it's not either or. It's about depending on what the approval of the disposal method will be.
Okay, so
just increases the options.
Yeah, by putting or does.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, because it's dependent on the conversation with and negotiations with renewal.
Yeah, I get that. But just another question for clarification then. Doesn't C say by including 3A and 3B that it's inclusive? So that takes the or out of it.
Do you want to speak to
that? So through the chair, so C allows a combination of both 3A and 3B.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah. So does it take the or out?
Then it becomes and or.
And or.
I think and.
If you did and or, would that?
We need all linked elements. So we need or B or a combination of both.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, A or B or a combination of both.
Okay, good. All right, no problems. I debate in the last one component. So I think it's certainly on the bottom line person. I think the chamber understands that, as a number of other elected members are as well. But other than the financial outcome in any particular revocation of land sale, there was an argument that I want to talk about, and that's about the non-financial outcomes for the community. And it's the provision of housing in a housing shortage. So by deviating from the policy and considering alternative disposal methods such as selling or leasing land or house development, the council can address the pressing issues of house scarcity within the community. And this action will contribute to meeting the housing needs of residents, ensuring a basic human right is fulfilled and improving the overall quality of life for individuals and families. Additionally, the provision of affordable housing can be non-financial income that justifies the council's departure from its policy. Many communities face challenges in accessing affordable housing, which can lead to housing inequality and social disparities. By pursuing the disposal method that prioritises the development of affordable housing, the council can contribute to making or creating a more inclusive and equitable community. This will provide opportunities for individuals with lower incomes to have access to safe and affordable housing, reducing the risk of homelessness and promoting social cohesion. Furthermore, considering good design outcomes, particularly the connectivity of new communities to existing services, recreation, education, transport infrastructure is another valuable non-financial income that justifies the council's departure from the policy. By adopting a disposal method that promotes well-planned and integrated communities development, the council can ensure that the new housing developments are designed to enhance connectivity and accessibility for residents. This would enable individuals to easily access essential services, educational institutions, recreational facilities, and transportation options, ultimately improving their quality of life and fostering a sense of community. So in summary, departing from the council's policy to pursue a disposal method that achieves financial and non-financial outcomes for its community, such as the provisions of housing and the housing shortage, provision of affordable housing and good design outcomes can lead to positive social and economic impacts. By considering the needs of the community and prioritising these outcomes, the council can contribute to creating a more inclusive, equitable and sustainable community for its residents.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Platten. Question or?
Just a short debate to say that I fully support all of the ands and ors. This is a very important part of what makes part of the Mid Coast and has been underdeveloped for an incredibly long time. And I can't speak for Councillor Wilkes, but I'm very excited to see something happen there.
Thank you. Councillor Yeomans.
Just a quick debate, if I can. Just the South Coast Board in general supports this. Being a voice for Councillor Dew this morning between 5 words versus 1 cough. Councillor Fisher couldn't have taken the words out of her mouth basically, so she certainly supports that one. And I'm very keen on A, so to go down that path and having a look at all options is a great opportunity, I think. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkes, do you wish to close debate? Oh. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? The motion's carried unanimously. And good luck with negotiations with our friends at Renewal SA. I think this is going to be very exciting for our community. Councillor, item number 9.6, dog and cat management. Councillor Themeliotis.
Can I just a quick question first?
Go ahead.
I know that this speaks to breeders of dogs and cats. Can you tell me a little bit about where other breeders sit, like rabbits and other people that are breeding in our city? Is that
are you happy to help with non-human species breeding?
Like it's literally just one of cats. Before and I'll move, I'm happy to move after.
Answer that question.
Yes, through the chair. Look, this is an amendment to the Dog and Cat Management Act only. It only pertains to the breeding of dogs and cats as companion animals. No other animals are contemplated by the amendment.
Is there another act that all those other breeders are?
Look, not that I'm aware of, and I guess it's just worth reminding the chamber that council doesn't actually have a role in the breeder component. It's the Dog and Cat Management Board that currently oversees that.
Perfect. Look, happy. I was just a curiosity of mine. So.
Thank you for your curiosity. Would you like to debate or just email us? I'd say if you want to say briefly, just a little bit of my frustration that the dog cat management reforms, they've gone with breeders first as the most important. Well, if you pick it first, I'm assuming it's the most important issue. When I think there is more pressing issues around cat management, but I'm happy to move the motion. Thank you. Councillor Bell, are you seconding the motion?
Yes, I am seconding the motion.
Would you like to speak?
Just briefly, just highlighting and thanking the staff for putting together a submission. I'm not sure if anyone else in the chamber did actually do a your say. I did when it first opened. And obviously this is very much in many ways linked to my motion last month in regards to going for your say to see if we can look to provide some data on cat containment and curfew and how the residents feel about that. Because obviously, anecdotally, we've got information that suggests that obviously the community would support that, as is generally supported by many other councils in the state. I think it's very astutely written, highlighting sections of the bill that are lacking in commitment. And I look forward to that being sent and shared and getting feedback maybe if we can from the government. And I look forward to the your say to follow at one stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkes, question?
Question, please. So I really enjoyed reading the submission, actually. I thought the council had some really strong views that were sort of almost opposed to, I would say opposed to what was being proposed. So my question is around that.
So on page 105, we sort of highlight, and it was just read in the actual submission as well. The council does not support the bill to amend the act that does not address a statewide approach to cap management. And there's another point in there about the reduction of current contribution of 24% of dog registration fees. You'd like to do that to 10. So I was just wondering, and this is more of a sort of a housekeeping question, I guess, how do we know as a chamber, and how will we be informed of like the outcome, or how are we going to know if we're listened to?
Sure, through the mayor. So the process from here, once council makes a submission, would be that we would expect a bill to be proclaimed by the government and debated in Parliament. And at that point, we will get a further insight into what considerations they've actually made or not made in relation to council's submission. There's usually, and I'm speaking for the government, I guess, but they usually provide a commentary on how that on the submissions they've received and how they've considered or rejected those submissions that they've received. I just can't say for sure what that's going to look like and what form I'd be able to bring that back to the chamber in due course. But there'll be something to be able to share about how the government progresses to the next step.
So subsequent question to that. I mean, we've got some pretty strong views in this chamber about cap management. Is this our last and only opportunity as the obviously to push our view on cap management?
So I'll take that one. You always have opportunities through your local members of parliament.
Okay.
And you could do that and through the minister, and also keeping, I'm not sure if we keep an eye on the bills, and I think we do, yes. So we know from the listing of when bills are going to be debated in Parliament. So there's mechanisms for us to follow that. And plenty of community groups organised quite well to sit in parliamentary chambers in the same way they come to our gallery. That's also a really useful tactic. And then another mechanism is, as Ian's saying, that a report, like a commentary, like a monarch note version of how does the bill work and then what's happening and all of the ingredients that those things come on. So while our role consultation process completed and we then send it into the state government, that is not the end of the process of debate for a bill to be finalised.
Okay,
so it's the last chance for us to say something as a chamber, but it's not the last chance for the community to continue to be involved in the conversation.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Councillor Pritchard.
Just a question, thank you. Is there a dollar figure on what the 24% contribution currently is from Aldinga Council?
So through the chair, for this financial year, it's been just over $400,000 from memory, but it's obviously going up as our dog registration fee income goes up.
Councillor Yeomans.
Just a quick question if I can on page 110. There's a comment there about returning surplus to the funds, $3.4 million back to the councils. Do you have any idea what, if that was achieved, what, given we've got the budget coming up next week, just out of interest, what that might look like for the council? What part of $3.4 million you might get?
So through the chair, City of Onkaparinga has approximately 11% of the state's dog population. And we have comparably some of the highest fees in metropolitan Adelaide with other metro councils. So our contribution to the fund is probably equivalent to that 11, maybe 12%. So that would over the years that fund has built up to $3 million, 300,000 plus dollars would be council's contribution.
No further questions. Councillor Themeliotis, would you like to close debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried unanimously, so that our friends in State Parliament know that they have the full support of this chamber to keep moving on that legislation. Okay, 9.7, it's the draft urban greening strategy. And I'm shocked to see councillor Fisher's name up here first. Go ahead. Would you like to move the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to move the motion.
Would you like to speak to it?
Only to thank the efforts of staff at this stage, and the efforts obviously of the chamber in the meetings previously to this particular agenda item coming here. No, I'm not going to stand up and give you a true speech. I think we all realise the importance of the green strategy moving forward. So
thank you. Councillor Wilkes, question with that.
No, I'd just like to second it, please. Perfect. And I will definitely say that I enjoyed reading this one as well. And I just think it's great. I love the vision. Resilient and livable Adelaide for all. Cool, leafier and more biodiverse.
Thank you. Any further speakers? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And I really want to thank the staff. The City of Onkaparinga is very, very highly regarded, and our staff are highly regarded by their peers in state government. And I just want to make sure that we appreciate all the work that goes on behind the scenes in creating a document like this. And I can confidently say that Onkaparinga's position and contribution, both with science and engagement and administration and policy, has really helped shape this. So congratulations to everyone involved in that. 9.8, vehicles on the foreshore. Do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Greaves.
Thank you. I'll move as written.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak? Councillor Platten.
I will second.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to speak to the item? No questions? No debate? I'm sorry, Councillor Yeomans. Are you wanting to speak? I'm having a strobe effect up here. Okay, Councillor Yeomans.
having a bit so tonight for an introvert, but anyway. Just in relation to this one and following on from the deputation, just want to make a comment that out of the 6 proposals, the proposal 2, which is the establishment of a vehicle-free area adjacent to the Washpool Conservation Park, which is referred to on page 157, is one proposal that might be further considered and focused by the Chamber in due course. If proposal 2 was actioned, this proposal would prevent the beach being used as a thoroughfare between Aldinga and Sellicks, as there is a well-made road available for that purpose. There may also be environmental considerations relating to the pebble bank and the long-term existence of the washpool, based on scientific reports being collated within the scope of a project led by the Glenelg Trust on this issue. I understand there may be a presentation on this later in the year that I'm yet to confirm. As noted in this report, the topic of driving and accessing beaches is a controversial issue within the community, but that's not to suggest these proposals should not be further discussed. The public engagement piece would need to be well considered, and it would be nice for ward councillors to have an input in the development of the public engagement strategy if we were to go down that path. In the absence of further data and reports based on science being presented for our consideration, I'm comfortable leaving this issue for the time being. But I just wanted to add that from my perspective, the door remains ajar on this issue, particularly on proposal 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Pritchard.
Just a very quick debate to say that I was extremely impressed by the petition and the amount of work that has gone into presenting a solution rather than just a problem. So would like to thank petitioners for that effort with regards to this proposal.
Thank you. Councillor Greaves, do you wish to close debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Against? Was that against or in favour? Against. The motion's still carried. I'm just checking. Thank you. Item number 9.9, Reconciliation Action Plan. Do I have a mover for this? Councillor Platten?
Happy to move as written.
Wish to speak to it?
Thank you.
Councillor Bell?
Maybe second.
Debate? Any questions? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? The motion's carried. Thank you. 9.10, and thank you for our members of the gallery who have arrived for this item. Multi-use sporting facility, governance and operations review. Do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Themeliotis.
Yes, happy to move. I'll debate really briefly. This is the second time. So we went in 2020, we went and consulted with us. Multi-use sporting clubs came up with some recommendations and didn't undertake any of those recommendations for a number of reasons. We've gone out and done these health checks now. We've come up with some action. So this time, let's take some action. Thank you.
And Councillor Eaton, are you seconding the motion?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak?
Just a quick question though, in respect to the table that appears on page 208 in the planning futures, and particularly in respect to the Happy Valley Sports Park, one of the users of that sports park is actually the Aberfoyle High School. We probably need to have that included in there, I would suggest. And they sit on the management committee as well. Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Fisher. Question or debate?
Withdraw.
Okay. Councillor Themeliotis, do you wish to close? All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for all the work behind the scenes, which has been substantial and continuous. The reporting schedule. Do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Themeliotis?
Yes, happy to move.
And Councillor Bell? Happy to second. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. We have now the questions on notice, so they are either answerable in the minutes. I'm just checking with 10.3. Will they be in the minutes as well? Yes. Thank you very much. Because we're nearly close to 8:30, I'm going to ask if there's someone willing for us to push on or to, how do you, many hands have gone up. I actually need a motion to keep going and not take a break. Councillor Platten.
I'd like to move a motion to stay in the chamber and work through the work.
Work through the work. Do I have a seconder, Councillor Fisher?
Yes.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thanks, everyone. Let's keep going. Well done. Okay, item 11.1, Councillor Themeliotis. No, sorry. Here you go.
Before I move this, I know it's all highlighted, but it's actually a minor update. So the original motion said, go, 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 go. And then the advice I got was, I need further advice. So this is just putting a slight break on it and getting an investigation to see if council can actually conduct this, because I don't know if there's any past history where council's actually initiated a petition. So this is asking for a bit more work to be done before we go forward. You can read in your leisure. Just really quickly, so where this has come from is obviously from the Maslin's Beach Association meeting. It was really clear from those residents and from the Clarendon Community Association. We've had 3 rounds of consultation around the CWMS. And it was very clear that there is a will to at least, or try to move to SA water. Residents have told us this time and time again. Maslin's Beach were quite active in saying, when is this advocacy going to start? When is this advocacy going to start? We know you've sent a letter, but really that's not good enough. We've been through enough. So they're looking for reliability, security, and, well, some relieving pressures on cost. I don't know if SA Water can necessarily do that, but this is the will of those communities. My residents in Clarendon that I represent want me to go down this track. I hope that you will support at least investigating if we have the ability to initiate a petition on behalf of our residents. I think this would complement a meeting that the Mayor would have with the Minister if she had a strong petition from our 4,500 residents on the system wanting to transfer over. So I hope you'll support this initial stage, which is just investigating the ability to see if we can actually do it.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'll second. I've got nothing to say. It's already been said. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Bell.
Yeah, I'd like to ask some questions of governance, if I may, please.
They will be so excited to answer your questions.
Thank you. Just wondered if you could provide any information and view on whether this is actually possible, please.
Through the chair, what's not clear to us is, I guess, the rules that Parliament set down about petitions, whether they have to be they have to come directly from residents, whether they can be initiated by council, because we'd probably hate to go to all the work of getting through this stage and then put the petition to Parliament and then have them say, no, I'm sorry, we can't accept it.
So at this stage, you're not aware whether this would in any way compromise our ability to be or remain impartial in any way as elected members?
Through the chair at the moment, no. I guess from Councillor Themeliotis' view, her residents have asked her that council keep advocating. But yeah, I understand the sentiment that you're expressing.
And what are the standard ways that we do advocate, please?
Through the chair, generally through a letter from the mayor or the CEO, or through our advocacy plan.
And in your opinion, or if anyone else would like to answer the question, is this not just the traditional way, but the most effective way, how we traditionally do it?
So I'll take that one. So there's very little evidence, and I spoke with the mover earlier today, there's very little evidence of council-initiated petitions under our state parliamentary Westminster's processes, because historically that's been about citizens putting forward something rather than intermediaries like a council putting forward. So that's what needs to be tested and explored, and that's my understanding of how the motion's been put, so that to investigate whether we do have the ability to be heard in a parliamentary sense through a petition that goes to Parliament, in the same way we expect petitions to come to us when we have individual names on it. It's not the council, it's not another entity. People have to be recognised by themselves, by their name and address. So there is some parliamentary processes that's an expectation of the process.
Thank you.
So this is what will be tested. Councillor Wilkes.
I'm sorry, I should have submitted this question, but I was just wondering if we have a petition, council, are people allowed to fill out 2 petitions for the same thing?
So if you're presenting your information to Parliament as a petition, in the same way petitions come to us, it's an individual, unless it's a different petition, like it was a different thing, you'll only get counted once. But you can't sign the same thing twice.
I'm just wondering if there's lots of different community groups and then we've got ours, or is this going to be?
So I think that's part of the process of the investigation that Councillor Themeliotis wants to explore. Okay. Not wanting to, is that right? Yeah. Okay. Any further questions? I'm going to apply for the job of Parliamentary Secretary next after this.
Councillor Bell, one more question. Is this a question that would go to the LGA?
This is something that I will put to the petition, the mover.
No, what I mean is investigated by, or we would ask the LGA if it was possible. No?
I think if this motion gets passed, then we are empowering the administration to explore how they will get that information. They may choose to talk to a range of people.
Yes, could you?
I'm going to put the motion. Or do you wish to close debate? Sorry,
there's a little bit of confusion. So we've got a petition around rebates that's very, very separate to this petition. So this petition has never been done before. And this council apparently has never done anything like this before. However, we have advocated very, very strongly for a number of things and had major outcomes from them, Hot Good Theatre being one of them. And we support our community in doing things. I want to try doing things differently, because if you keep doing the same thing time and time again and expecting an outcome or expecting a good outcome, what happens? There's a little saying with that. And I think we can do better, and our community are asking us to do better. We had that notice of motion back in November where there was going to be an advocacy plan. Where is it? Where is that advocacy plan?
Well, we've never seen that advocacy plan, and I don't think we're going to be seeing that advocacy plan anytime soon. So I'm trying to take a bit of charge here. Just so elected members know, I was the one that raised questions about this at 4:30 today before bringing this to you. And then at 5 o'clock is when this got amended. So this is quite a, on the fly sort of thing. So I'm not giving sort of my best debate in this one, but let's investigate this. It's literally a call to the parliamentary office that tables petitions. Find out if it's possible. If it's not possible, I will be finding head petitioners in Maslin's Beach and in Clarendon and in Sellicks. And I know there'll be elected members that can help me do this. And then just utilising council's facilities to facilitate those petitions. We have used council's facilities before to facilitate other federal and state things in our council area. So it can be done. Let's find a way.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried unanimously. Next we have item 11.2.
Wasn't unanimous.
Yes, it was. Everyone voted. Yes. We can check the footage, but I think I'm pretty confident that was unanimous. 11.2, Councillor Wilkes. Can you press your button, please? Thank you.
All right. So firstly, I'd like to thank Shari for coming along and giving the deputation and requesting the car parks be reinstated. So I hope everyone realised on the handout that there was a set of photos, but there's also a map. Shari contacted myself and the mayor in February. Subsequently, I put in some questions. I put an EM in. I put some questions on notice in, and there was a letter sent back to Shari outlining that there is some possible upgrades that could potentially happen in 2027, 2028 for the area to allow access to be easier. But at the moment we are looking, we definitely welcome that, but we are looking to have beach access a lot more convenient for dog walkers. So there is a really strong desire for this on the beach. Shari is not the only person who's contacted me regarding this. I've had at least 3 others. And the general sentiment around the request is that if you see on the photo, not just the green lines, which we're requesting for, there are actually a lot of the people who contacted me would like a full length of cars designated to dog users. The reason for that, I couldn't see enough argument, so I've actually just asked for the 3 initial car parks that were there before the boat ramp launched to be reinstated, an additional 2. I thought that was a really good common ground. So that's the reasoning for the 3 car parks plus the 2, a total of 5 out of 118 car parks that is in the lower car park. So the reason why people are coming to me and asking for these car parks to be reinstated is because they feel like they're the only ones that use this lower car park. Now, the dog walkers are there normally day in, day out, whereas the boaties are there seasonally. So they sort of come and go in masses, and it would be great for the dog users who use this car park all the time to not be affected by the dual use of the car park. The older dogs who can't actually walk for 300 metres, would be great. It would be great for them, so if they could have that access. The people who are carrying children, as Shari said, I just think they have been there for a long time, those car parks, before they did the boat ramp upgrade. So if we could please reinstate them, that would be great. Now, in that facility, that you can actually see a kiosk there. That kiosk has been now leased again. They have put a new deck on. They are hoping to have a lot more users in that space, and now they won't be able to use that lower car park, that 118 car parks. They will be designated to use the top car park. So again, if the kiosk has their desire, they will have more people using the kiosk, and that means less dog walking car spots as well, closer to that ramp. This will cost no additional policing. This will cost council no additional policing, because they're already down there looking for cars who are in that area. They're already monitoring the site, so it's not going to affect council and the community service reps who go down and assess the area. It has initially been there, so it'd be great to see it back. And then I just think this is sort of our place that's not a dog park. So we don't have any dog parks in Mid-Coast. We don't have any dog parks in the area. So it would be great to acknowledge that, yes, this is our dog park area. So I won't touch on that point too much. And then we don't really feel that our residents should be left out because their dog beach access adjoins the boat ramp. And that's really the main thing. If the boat ramp wasn't there, then the dog walkers would be able to use the car park. They would have a car park that they would access to, but no, now there's a dog, so there's a boat right there and they miss out. So if you guys could please support this motion, that would be fabulous.
Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'll certainly second it. Being a regular visitor with Tessa and observing older people trying to get down those stairs, and particularly if the dog starts to pull, we could end up with injuries. It just gives them another option. I have visited there with my other older dogs when we had them, and that was Pepper, and she was actually in a wheelchair. And used to be able to take that down on the beach because she thoroughly enjoyed getting onto the beach. So it would have been nice to actually have that access rather than have to spend half an hour getting around to get on the beach, but certainly support it.
Thank you. And just for the record, and anyone watching, Tessa is a dog. We're just checking with that. Councillor Platten.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'd like to speak to it if I can.
Go ahead.
As Councillor Wilkes alluded to, it was my great speech that I had planned talking about the fact that Mid-Coast doesn't have dog parks. We got dog beaches. And for a great deal of my life up until the recent beautification and fantastic infrastructure additions, those car parks were available to cars. As much as some people don't think they were, they definitely were, maybe not 5, but there was definitely 3. I used to park down there myself. I'm a nose in, ears out sort of a person in this council. What I would like to see is that they retain their status for fishers to park there during the busy times, maybe all the time, but that those particular 5 car parks also have a 2-hour signage to allow any car to park down there. I don't think it would require any substantial change to signage. In fact, don't even tell anyone. Just tell the locals that have approached both Councillor Wilkes and I and made it very clear that they really do miss this as a wonderful asset. This is a beautiful beach if anyone ever wants to go body surfing as well.
Thank you for the endorsement for the Mid-Coast. Councillor Themeliotis.
Just a quick question. With regards to the photo that's in here, or the photos and the stairs, what sort of maintenance schedule is the trimming of the little bushes around these stairs? Like,
is anyone able to answer that question?
Is it swept with the sand, or is that just?
No, we'll take on notice.
Yeah, it'd be great just to get an idea if someone can go out and trim that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkes, do you want to close? Can you press your button, please? Thank you.
I just want to quickly close and just highlight, because I missed a point, the safety with the ageing population, and Councillor Eaton has summed it up perfectly that yes, there is disability parking down there, but sometimes it's not just the person, it can be the doggy too. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried. Thank you very much. Item 11.3, footpaths. Councillor Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the motion.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge staff that are involved in this process. It's come to a head, but certainly there's been a lot of contribution along the way. And also I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Themeliotis and Pritchard too for their work in this particular area. Councillor Pritchard, especially in relation to graph paper and data. So I'm confident that the information that is in front of you has gone through the processes to ensure that the resolution is sound. Footpaths benefit the community by providing safe and convenient access along our streets. They connect to important locations such as precincts, hubs, schools, open spaces, trails, dog parks, public transport and facilities that the community requires. Walking is the most popular form of active recreation amongst our residents, as indicated by the results of our 2023 community survey and sports and active recreation action plan. That's a mouthful. Therefore, it is crucial to prioritise the construction and maintenance of footpaths. Our commitment to inclusivity is outlined in our Inclusive Communities Action Plan, which aims to improve access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Footpaths that meet the requirements of the Disability and Discrimination Act (DDA) enable people with mobility issues to safely engage in recreational activities, commute and access facilities. Currently, there is a significant backlog of footpath construction, with approximately 432 kilometres of footpaths remaining to be built at an estimated cost of $100 million. To address this, currently, the recommended budget for the new footpath construction in 2024-25 is $1.9 million, and the average annual budget over the next 10 years is projected to be around about $2.2 million. Additionally, there is a recommendation of the allocation of $650,000 for the renewal of existing footpaths in the 2024-25 budget, with an average annual budget of approximately $720,000 for the next 10 years. It is important to note that at the current rate, it would take nearly 50 years to complete the footpath network, leaving residents waiting a long time to see a new piece of footpath out the front of their street. To address this issue, it is necessary to explore options for accelerating the footpath program. I propose in the resolution that we request a report by October 2024 this year that provides detailed information on the various options for expediting the delivery of the footpath program. The report should discuss how our community utilises the footpath network, provide information on the current service levels of the council, and outline how new and renewal footpath construction is currently prioritised. Furthermore, the report should include details on managing the requirements of the Disability and Discrimination Act, including curb grant provision, and explore financial opportunities such as utilising savings from capital funds or other external funding streams. So I'm talking about advocacy there, okay? It would be beneficial for the report to model the suggested options and assess their impacts on the long-term financial plan, depreciation and asset renewal ratios. Finally, the report should develop packages of new footpath projects that could be funded externally, thereby diversifying the funding sources and potentially accelerating the construction program.
Thank you. With seconds to spare, Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'm prepared to second this and in support of it. In the area that I live, and I've actually lived in the area now for 50 years, but we've certainly in the Flagstaff Hill area, Overfall Park area, have residents that have been living there for 55 years, still waiting for footpaths, and they've been through 3 councils in that term. We had a group of residents in Reed Avenue at Overfall Park put up a petition to council when Aaron Thompson was mayor. It's not even in the program yet, and clearly it is justified for that particular location. And I'm actually going to go back and speak to those residents in the next couple of days about getting their petition up and give it to the member for Davenport. You would have seen a photograph I sent this afternoon of an elderly lady in a walker having to walk on the road. She's lived in that area for about 57 years, I believe, when I spoke to her. There's no footpath, and the road that she's on is quite steep. But that section, it was flat. And clearly these people really need that. We need to consider the footpaths, and certainly if we can somehow, in our advocacy plan, get funding from the state or federal government to proceed with them, it will do our residents, particularly our older residents, a lot of justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Themeliotis.
Yes, just some brief debate. Just to firstly thank Councillor Fisher for bringing this notice of motion to the chamber. I'm sort of, in a way, sort of sick of elected members complaining about footpaths and not just bringing something up and looking at ways to actually bring some solutions to the chamber. Through our advocacy plan, that's what I utilised with the footpath blitz, which is looking at basically what we did with our trails and finding those connector pieces but turning them into
packages for each ward that could be used for advocacy for external funding. And I remember I think it was in the advocacy workshops, I talked about making footpaths sexy. So just keep that in mind, elected members, because we can make footpaths sexy and we can get them funded externally by packaging them up in sexy packages. Councillor Fisher is absolutely right. The most popular activity in our council area is walking, probably because petrol's so expensive. No, walking is our most popular activity in our council area. Why? Because our council is bloody beautiful. It's amazing to walk around and get active and see things that are happening in our community. And we can sell this. We can sell it to our local MPs. So remember, elected members, when you think about footpaths, make it sexy.
Thank you. Councillor Fisher, you're up for the challenge to close the debate. I'm glad your microphone wasn't on.
Nothing to add, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. We now have item 11.4, Councillor Wilkes.
Thank you. So I brought this one to the chamber because it came up in my first month of being elected to this chamber. And it's been a long process to get here. I have been questioning and pestering staff about it. As you know, I like to ask questions and I'm pretty good at pestering, but I wanted to know how it happens. What's the process? You know, a subzone over the end of Beach Road is the outcome. How do we make it happen? There's been EMs and emails. I've asked for follow-up. I did some quants in January and the fantastic staff who have always answered my questions, outlined the process for the steps in April. But this is what they said. The policy team are currently liaising with State Government Planning and Land Use Service on the scope of the policy content for the Beach Road West Zone Code Amendment as to whether they will consider a new subzone, a coastal activity centre subzone, to be included into the code. The new policy will depend on the outcome of our discussion with the Planning and Land Use Service. Following these discussions, they are looking to present a draft proposal to initiate to Council for consideration in the second half of this year. This will then be submitted to the Minister for initiation that allows 14 weeks for approval. Upon ministerial approval of the proposal to initiate, we will report on the final code amendment and engagement plan to Council at the end of this year and undertake community engagement at the beginning of next year. Following engagement, we will report to Council on the recommendation and engagement summary report and then submit the code amendment to the Planning and Land Use Service for final approval and inclusion into the code. We expect this to occur in mid to late 2025. So I thank staff for starting this process. I really appreciate it. And that's why I have just, well, it's highlighted yellow. I changed very few words so Council continue with their actions regarding the placement of a coastal activity centre over Beach Road. Now, the reason I have brought this motion, considering that Council have already started the process, is mainly because of point 2. Because my community, from the very get-go, when I was door knocking at the start, residents and businesses are frustrated with the end of Beach Road having so many services. They are annoyed that it can kind of go somewhere else. We have so much space, we're a big community, and they want to see the end of Beach Road particularly have restaurants and eateries now and retail. So this is not going to force a developer to do that. It's not going to force a landlord, but it makes them aware that that is the community's desire. And sometimes I feel that that's what will help. And so the staff, that's why they initiated it. So this might seem like a bit of a waste of time, but this motion is to strengthen and highlight the community's desire and add and inform new and proposed developments that could happen in that time, which is late 2025, when that coastal activity centre could be placed. It doesn't stop the process we are in, but it will make new potential development owners aware that this is the community's desire.
Thank you. Councillor Platten. Seconding or
Second.
Wish to speak?
Yep, sure. Imagine Councillor Wilkes coming to me as a landlord of a commercial property and telling me that she wants to dictate to commercial property owners what they should put in as their tenancy. That was an interesting conversation. one that actually over a long time, Councillor Wilkes has worn me down, and I completely understand where she's going. This doesn't in any way prevent a landlord from putting in a service if they wish to do so, but it does provide a direction, and a direction that the community are looking for. They certainly are. I think we're putting, as a council, a substantial investment into Christie's Beach, and the community want to be able to live and thrive in that area from Roy Terrace, using the beautiful nodes that are now being built and enjoying hospitality venues. So I appreciate the nod.
Thank you. Councillor Bell, question or debate? Questions, please. And I have to apologise to Councillor Wilkes for not ringing her during the week after I read this, and also apologise for my ignorance because I don't understand what a subzone is. Can someone explain that to me?
I think we've got an officer who will sure do that.
Subzone, what a subzone will look like. I don't get it, sorry.
Thanks, Ryan.
Through the Mayor, a subzone is a bespoke piece of policy that sits beneath the standard overarching zone and provides more detailed guidance in a smaller area that's within a larger zone. So it's a bespoke piece of policy for a smaller piece of area to achieve a particular outcome.
So in the context of what we have in Beach Road, there are a number of services, as we heard, health services, community-based services that are not retail, they are not restaurants, and they are not places of hospitality, even though people might be very hospitable inside of them. And so this, as I understand it, a subzone has a prescription then about a smaller space so that you can do specific things. Is that correct?
Through the Mayor, yes, it's via the development application process only that can be enforced. So if there were to be a change of land use application, then that's when the policy would kick in and we would have an opportunity to make sure the appropriate uses that we want to see at the end of Beach Road that activate an area are located there, rather than services which don't contribute to the hospitality or tourism outcomes that we want to see down at that end.
Councillor Fisher.
My question is just on the services. So I think we touched on a couple of examples, but what are the real examples on Beach Road?
So there's a mixture of financial services, legal services, health, mental health services, community-based services, offices. I think if you think about what's there, the subzone idea is around restaurants and retail, so people that would be going down there and be encouraged to, be a tourist in the township or on that part of Beach Road, as opposed to being a customer of a service. Councillor Themeliotis.
Oh, oops, thank you. I'll do some brief debate now that I think I've finally got it. So my understanding of what Councillor Wilkes is trying to do is have Christie's Beach, especially the lower end, closer to the coast, as a place where people are actually going to stay there for a couple of hours and enjoy it, rather than come, grab a pie and leave. Like, actually enjoy Christie's Beach. And I think that's what it's supposed to be there for. It's supposed to be for tourism. It's supposed to be for residents to come and just sort of walk the strip a little bit, be able to do a little bit of shopping, pick up some maybe knick-knacky gifty things, sit down and be able to actually have a lunch, sit down with your kids and have lunch, go down to the beach, and if it's being activated at the time, enjoy if the events are going on. But at the moment, I go down to Christie's Beach, I like going down to the coast, but I don't stay there long enough because there's nothing to do. I can't sit there and have a hot chocolate with my friends after 5 p.m. because it's dead. And that's really, really sad. The lower end it's a really beautiful area. It's lit at night. It's a very photogenic area. And I think we can encourage more people with this. If I understand Councillor Wilkes' intent, we can encourage more people to sort of bring forward those restaurants and places to have hot chocolate and a late night coffee and want to go with your friends and catch up, especially in winter when you don't necessarily want to go out drinking, but you just want to get with your friends somewhere warm and be social and really enjoy Christie's Beach. Because for me, it's really sad. I said this to our Deputy Mayor that I was really quite sad going down Christie's Beach. I think it was like 8 p.m. at night on Friday and Saturday nights, and it's dead. That's really, really sad for such a really beautiful location. So hopefully with what Councillor Wilkes is trying to do is sort of ignite that bottom end so people can stay, come to Christie's Beach, stay and really enjoy it.
Thank you. Councillor Eaton. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, certainly I support this. I suggest if you want to have a look at atmosphere, take a walk down Jetty Road at Brighton and look at the numerous people just sitting out in the street, enjoying the environment, having a meal, having a coffee, meeting up with friends. It is absolutely brilliant. If we could actually replicate that park in the bottom end of Beach Road, it would certainly add to the atmosphere around the place. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Wilkes, do you wish to close?
Perfect. Thank you. So yes, I'll just reiterate, it was one of the first topics I discussed with residents and local business owners. They welcome this because they, you know, even though they are a local business owner and there is few and far between, three, I can probably, well, anyway, they want that diversity. They want the different options. They want people to be able to, because everything that's down there now is full, and people, if they're always full, will start going somewhere else. So they're full. People want to, you know, we want to get more people down there. So I think this gives clarity and it backdates, and it will give more detailed guidance to potential landlords in the area. And I really just wanted to commend the staff for their continued work, especially the tourism and development team. They work so hard for Beach Road, and they started the advocacy plan to get those nodes happening, and this will help those nodes be used. But yeah, I just really thank them for having the passion that I have for Beach Road. So thank you, staff.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? The motion is carried, and good luck as you continue on that process. Item 12.1 is the petition to be received. Do I have a mover, Councillor Platten?
Happy to move.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fisher, who's pushing the button? Councillor Fisher, thank you.
I'll see them.
Thank you. Councillor Platten, did you wish to speak? No. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. And I think that is the conclusion of our meeting tonight. Is there any urgent business? No? I will conclude the meeting, close the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, and thanks to all the staff.